It's time to accelerate. Hey friends, this is Andy. Welcome to episode 684 of Accelerate, the sales podcast of record. I have a really interesting show lined up for you today. Joining me as my guest is Brian Margolis. Brian is the founder of Productivity Giant, and he's the author of a book titled The Index Card Business Plan for Sales Pros and Entrepreneurs: How to Use the Pillar System to Simplify Your Strategy and Magnify Your Results. As you might expect today, we're talking about effective sales planning. This is really a relevant topic now as we head into the time of the year we start looking at our plans for 2019. Now, before we get to Brian, I want to talk with you for just a minute about the Sales House. That's my B2B sales learning and development accelerator. Now, great slate of things on tap this week in the Sales House. We have a sales masterclass with Bill Johnson, who's the CEO of SalesView. We're talking about how to automate sales strategies through the math of sales. We have a brand new course in our 9-Minute Sales Academy. Give us 9 minutes, teach you a new skill, new behavior. This week it's about how to ask consensus questions of your buyers. We have our two weekly live coaching and mentoring hours. Those are for the entire community. Thursday this week, actually tomorrow, live workshop with Lisa Dennis. It's all about value propositions that sell. It's very interesting. And of course, always members have unlimited access to me through our Sales House Facebook group. Now, sales is hard work, and the good news is you don't have to sell alone. You can succeed. We can help. So come invest a few minutes a day in the Sales House. Visit thesaleshouse.com or go to thesaleshouse.com/accelerate. That is thesaleshouse.com/accelerate. I look forward to seeing you in the house. All right, let's jump into it with my guest today, Brian Margolis. As I mentioned, Brian has written a really very useful book on business planning for sales professionals. It's called The Index Card Business Plan for Sales Pros and Entrepreneurs: How to Use the Pillar System to Simplify Your Strategy and Magnify Your Results. Among the topics we're going to explore are why your planning needs to be kept as simple and as focused as possible, and why within this pillar system you need to make sure you're really focused on performing those activities within your control that produce the most results, not just things that are sort of random tasks, right? It may seem pretty logical, but Brian has a good explanation for how to make that happen. He also has in his pillar system a learning pillar. As you might expect, I'm excited about that because I'm passionate about learning. And he's going to share why the most important thing about that learning pillar is choosing the right thing to learn. And perhaps more importantly, I like in his book, and you could talk about it here today, is really the metric you want to use for success. It's really focused around this idea of progress, not about getting X number of activities done, but making progress. So we're talking about that and all of that and much, much more. So let's jump into it now. Brian Margolis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You're joining us from where today?
I am in Voorhees, New Jersey, right by Philadelphia.
Voorhees, New Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only known for being the hometown practice facility of the Philadelphia Flyers. Outside of that,
oh, okay. The Flyers.
What else we're known for?
Other than being close to Philadelphia, which is a great city.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, lots of good places to eat in Philadelphia.
Yes.
I mean, even outside the cheesesteaks, right?
That's right.
So do you have a preference? Which is your favorite cheesesteak?
The Geno's Pats debate has been going on for a long time around here, but I don't care. If I can get one, I get one.
You don't care as long as it's a cheesesteak. I love it. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had one, but someone's just telling me about this fantastic donut place in the what's the big market? That used to be a train station or something?
The Reading Terminal.
Yeah. Somebody said
Terminal.
there's some fantastic donut place in there.
Yes.
Not to be a tour guide for Philadelphia, but there you go. So let's jump into it. So you've written a book, which I found very interesting. And a book I'll recommend to people that they should read. It's short, 101 pages, easy to go through, titled The Index Card Business Plan for Sales Pros and Entrepreneurs. And interesting concept. So tell us a little bit about the book and the genesis and exactly what it means to have an index card business plan.
Yeah, I mean, the genesis of the book itself was that, and obviously as a book about the index card business plan, I figured if it was too long, it wouldn't fit. Right?
Exactly.
And so it's a little book. I think it's 6x9, about 100 pages, and a nice short read. But really the genesis, and one of my clients actually really pushed me to write a book. And I'll be honest, and you know this better than anyone, writing a book is quite a task. And the only thing harder than writing a book is writing a short book, right? Keeping stuff out. But, the genesis.
As Mark Twain said.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. It's easier to write a short letter.
Yeah, he wanted to write you a short letter, but didn't have time, so wrote a long one instead.
That's right. But yeah, so the genesis of the book, it was really a client and a friend that pushed me to put this in book format. It's something that I had been using for myself for years. I call myself kind of patient zero, if you will, where, I was the person who needed this the most. And, as I was an entrepreneur and going through different businesses.
And this being
the pillar system, the index card business plan.
But a way to intelligently focus your activities.
Yeah, it's basically, here's the way I look at it. And we're talking to sales professionals. It's basically a strategy. It's a way, most sales professionals, their income or their results for the most part is based on their skill set, right? Their talents, their developed skills, and you kind of mix that with their work ethic. And for a lot of them, that's enough, right? It's kind of like go, go, go. But they usually get to a plateau at a certain point. And what I've always felt was missing, including myself, was kind of a strategy, right? A week-to-week process. And I know you talk a lot about that in your stuff, but I wanted to make it really simple. And I wanted to be really careful about the kind of strategy I developed and taught this index card business plan. Because a lot of strategies that I read about, or a lot of systems, they're really designed to get a lot done, right? How do you get the most done in your week? And to me, that wasn't as important as how do you get the most results? There's no relationship, obviously, between how much you get done and how much you make. And so
exactly
what it basically did, this index card business plan, was it boiled your week down to these critical activities, these pillars that are 100% in your control. In other words, these aren't goals, these aren't hopes. These are things that you control, whether they get done or not. And the idea is when you identify the right pillars for yourself, and that's the process discussed in the book, by completing these pillars each week, you basically get to a point where you realize you did what you had to do that week. You focused on all the important things, the things that usually wind up getting procrastinated on, the things that usually get pushed off because there's no immediate consequence, right? And so the index card business plan just kind of, it teaches you how to take everything you could do in a given week or day and boil it down, again, to those critical activities. And then the second part is how do you actually execute on them once you've identified them, right?
Right. Yeah, and part of the reason it appealed to me as I was going through it is that I'm in love with this idea, and have been for a long time, about simplifying your focus, right?
Yeah.
Simplifying everything, actually, because we are unnecessarily complicating sales. Obviously we've had this incredible influx of really incredible innovations and technologies into sales, but for all their value on one hand, on the other, they also do complicate the lives of people. And so this idea of taking concepts or taking processes, anything you can, and simplifying it, I think has a lot of value.
100%. And where it really focuses, and I think sometimes people get mixed up, this is not a glorified to-do list, okay? It's not a checklist that you have to do every week. What it really is, it's in this category I call the pro category. These are activities that are significant to your income, but you have to be proactive in order to complete them because there's no consequence. A lot of people don't actually complete them each week. We procrastinate. We get caught up in the reactive, the urgent, as you've heard before. And so what we do is we really have this process for saying, all right, there's a lot of things that can affect your business, a lot of things that can improve your business. There's no shortage of that. but I want to get it down to the list. And I think this is the statement maybe you're looking for, but I want to get it down to the list where as long as I do A, B, C, D, whatever my pillars are, everything else takes care of itself, right? It has kind of like a bleed effect. I know you have the 5-step blueprint, and some of those could actually be pillars. Some of those could be, I know you talk about the 2 hours a week where you call your existing clients.
Right.
You're a big fan of that. Well, let's be honest, whether you call your clients for 2 hours a week or not, if you think that's important to your business, your paycheck's not going to change on Friday. And so these things work on the compound effect. And so these are the things we tend to not focus on, or they fall through the cracks in place of the urgent. And so that's really what the pillar system is based around.
Yeah, well, I think that's really an interesting thought for people to take away is this idea of the compound effect, right? Is that oftentimes people embark on I'm going to get re-energized. I'm going to do these 3 things. And after a week, I didn't really see anything as a result. So I'm going to stop doing it.
Well, sure. And I think the example or the analogy that people relate to the most is, fitness and health, right? I mean, if you eat the triple cheeseburger today for lunch, or you eat the kale salad with no dressing, you're not going to look any different in the mirror tonight. That's the reality. But that's also the problem, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
So let's turn that into a sales professional.
Right.
If they don't follow up enough or they don't do enough prospecting, right? Certain things that maybe they don't like doing, again, their paycheck doesn't tend to change on Friday, but over the course of a sales career, let's be honest, these are the things that drive everything.
Yeah.
I mean, your podcast is filled with skill after idea. And one of the concepts in the book is, okay, there's all these things I could get better at, right? But then we have this thing called a learning pillar. The most important part of learning, in my opinion, and the reason it rises to the level of a pillar is choosing the right thing to learn. Because the information's out there. It's almost too much information.
Right.
But choosing the right thing to spend an hour on every week, whether it's copywriting and becoming very good at writing emails people respond to, all these skills that are out there, you need to pick the skill that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck and make sure that's one of your pillars. You're consistently working on it week in and week out.
Right. Okay. So let's, at the time we have left, there's a few minutes.
Sure.
So what's the one thing that people can take away? What's the big thing not the big thing, what's the small thing they can learn, put to use in their business, as soon as we're finished with the show?
Yeah. So most salespeople, let's be honest, they are not afraid of working, right? They'll put in the hours, they'll spend their time. And so the biggest takeaway from the pillar system is this: whether you use my process or you use another process, is identify the key things that you have to do every week, okay? And make sure they're the proactive things. The key things that you have to do every week so you feel on Friday night, regardless of lag indicators, regardless of your sales, you had a great week and your business is moving forward. And when you identify those and execute on them consistently, everything else takes care of itself. People laugh at me that you can't run your business from an index card. And maybe I thought I was the only one, but this index card business plan has resulted in individual sales reps becoming 7-figure earners. It's resulted in Fortune 500 companies teaching their entire company this system. And the reason is I think we're simple people, right? And when something's simple, we tend to execute on it. It works.
Right. I love it. I mean, this concept, and I'm going to start using elements of this because we've started a new venture. We've got a lot of moving pieces going on, and it's easy to get distracted by things that seem urgent, but are not necessarily important.
And from a manager's point of view, and I think this is key as well, managers sometimes suffer from the problem that when a sales rep or a sales professional's business maybe isn't where it should be, they kind of only have 2 metrics to look at. Number one, they can look at results, right? These lag indicators. And number 2, they can look at activity. How many things are they having?
Right.
Well, that's a hard way to get a diagnosis of where the problem is.
Oh yeah, virtually impossible. Yes.
Yeah, but sometimes that's all they have to go on, which is why they say do more meetings, do more, right? Make more calls. And when a salesperson has these pillars, this strategy, this very clear, this is what I do every week, A, B, C, D, and E, it allows the manager, it allows an accountability to say, okay, first, are you doing these 5 things we've identified, these pillars every week? And if you are, maybe we need to take a closer look at what they are. Because if these are really the right things to do, you're either not doing them consistently or you're not effective in doing them. And so it makes diagnosing sales problems a lot easier from the management point of view.
Right. Yeah, and I think the perspective that you layer on that, which is that, yeah, the orders are lagging indicators, is absolutely right. I mean, focus on what's happening. Don't. I go nuts every time somebody says, what's your goal? It's close X number of orders, and it's really, let's take it back to how about it's having these interim milestones, and if I execute these consistently, then the orders are going to come.
And that's the Friday night feeling I discuss in the book. That's one of the side benefits I wasn't ready for that the most people tell me is, man, Brian, regardless of what happens on Friday night, as long as I hit my pillars, I know I did what I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good feeling for salespeople who can often be on that emotional roller coaster of, what sales came in that week, right? What closed, what fell in.
Right. And you're getting distracted by big to-do lists and so on. So, I like it. Well, good. Well, Brian, thank you very much. So tell folks how they can find out more about you.
Again, let me keep it simple. I don't have to give you 1,000 locations. You can go to productivitygiant.com and that'll access free reports, some free resources, and everything you need to know about how to identify and execute on your pillars.
All right. That's productivitygiant.com. Well, Brian, very nice to meet you, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
Okay, friends, that was Accelerate for the week. First of all, I want to thank you for joining me, as always. And I want to thank my guest, Brian Margolis. Join me again next week as I welcome Benjamin Spall to the show. Ben is the author of a book titled My Morning Routine, How Successful People Start Every Day Inspired. And he interviewed hundreds of successful people about the routines they follow to start their day. And there's lots of good advice in the book, so be sure to join me next week. And before you go, don't forget to check out the Sales House. It's the only all-in-one sales learning and development accelerator for B2B sellers. Visit thesaleshouse.com. That is thesaleshouse.com. All right, thanks for joining me. Until next week, I'm your host, Andy Paul. Good selling, everyone.